Hello, my name is Tom Chick, and I'm here to teach you how to play Onirim. Now, first order of business here, is that really how you pronounce it? Onirim and not Onirim? Here's the box, by the way. Is this Onirim, Onirim? Well, I actually did a podcast with the developer, Shadi Torbey. His name is up there. You can click here to listen to it. Furthermore, by the way, while I'm giving you these links, click here to read my review of Onirim. But I spoke to the developer. I think I remember asking him how to pronounce it. I don't remember what he said, but I'm pretty sure I'm right for a couple of reasons. Onirim, I took some biblical Hebrew way back when. There are Hebrew words that end in im that are pronounced im. Nephilim is one that'll be familiar to a lot of Christians and Jews. There's bits in the Bible about Nephilim being these giants or angels. There are also words like Ketuvim, Nevi'im. These are the books of the Hebrew scriptures. There's the Torah, then there's the Nevi'im, which are the books of the prophets. The Ketuvim is all that other stuff that is considered the writings. So, Onirim, Ketuvim, Nephilim, makes sense, right? If that doesn't convince you, let me give you this one. What do you call someone who is from Rohan? Yeah, Rohirrim, not Rohirrim, I don't think. Yeah, Rohirrim. So, and I believe Tolkien was a linguist, right? Wouldn't he know? So let's go with Onirim. Now, why am I teaching you to play Onirim? Because it's a pretty straightforward, simple game. I'm teaching you simply because I love talking about this, and I'm more than happy to show anyone how to play. So if you can't be bothered to read through the little manual, that's fine. Let me just show you how this works. Now, the first thing you need to know, to win in Onirim, the premise, by the way, is you're having a dream. Oniric is the Greek word for dream, so Onirim is, I don't know, a journey through a dream. In your journey through a dream, you have to find your way through a labyrinth, and you have to escape before time runs out. Now, this game is only played with cards. There's one little piece, but I'll show you that in a moment. If your deck runs out, if you ever are supposed to draw a card and you can't, you've lost. You're trapped forever in the dream. You've blown it. To get out of the dream, you have to unlock doors. Here are doors of different colors. Here's an observatory door. Here is a library door. Here is a garden door. Here's I showed you the observatory door. This one, the aquarium door. You have to unlock these doors, of course, to escape from the dream labyrinth. Now, you might be thinking, okay, Tom, I get it. 4 doors, I have to unlock them, and then I get out, right? No, hold on. There are 2 doors of every color in the deck. You have to unlock 2 of each color. Now, the game doesn't present any rationale for that, but I have a rationale. I've come up with something here. You have to get into these rooms, and then you have to get out of them again. So these rooms stand between you and the exit. You must get into the observatory, and rather than just hanging out there, you also have to get out of the observatory through a different room. So that's my rationale for having to get 2 door cards of each color. I don't know if you need that or not. But let's go look at how to play. Now, if there's one thing that I think would be more dull than watching a guy like me explain a board game, it would be watching a guy like me open a board game. I don't understand unboxing videos. But in this case, I think it merits some video time. The Onirim box, like Castilian and Sylvian, it's other games in this series, is a very well done piece of work by Z-Man Games. So let's go through this. Cute little box, nice size, vivid artwork. We open it up and look, it's a little, this is the little demon called an incubus. So you have the little incubus looking at you in the form of a couple of flaps. You open the flaps, and here are the rule books. They are nested rule books, one for the rules, one for the book of expansions. They come apart like that. So you just read the basic rules. Here are the rules for the expansions. Guess what? You won't need this because I'm going to teach you how to play. Now you have in here 2 areas for cards. There's plenty of room for all the cards to fit. And this little guy right here, who is the little incubus. So the first thing you must do in any game, in every game, this goes for Onirim, this goes for Castellion, this goes for Sylveon. They don't have a little incubus, but they each have a figure up here. The first thing you must do, get this little guy out. He must always preside over your games. He must sit to one side watching. That's mandatory. Because if you don't do that, by the way, bad luck. You don't want that kind of bad luck. In these two areas in the box, the nature of Onirim is such that you always are going to use a basic set of cards. I've put those here. The expansions will be organized by icons that show you which card goes into which expansion. So I just have them grouped by the icons, so I can tell which expansion. I can just easily pull off these cards. They go from this expansion. If I want another expansion, I just go through. They're all together. Super easy to organize. Expansions here. If you feel like it, if you want to get a little crazy, put your basic cards here and your expansion cards here. No one will judge you, except maybe for the little incubus. So I'm just going to show you the basic game now, which will involve getting out the basic cards. These are the cards. Let's give them a shuffle. Now, there are three kinds of cards in Onirim. There are location cards that will have a moon, a sun, or a key above them. And there are 4 locations, colors of locations, I should say. Did I just shuffle things backwards and forwards? No. Let's see, there's a blue, there's a tan, and we need green. Yeah, we have everything. Red is the observatory. How do I know it's the observatory? Look at that artwork. That's obviously an observatory. Blue is the aquarium. Green is the garden. And tan is the library. Now, coincidentally enough, I have just showed these to you in the order in which they're most common in the deck. There are 16 observatory cards, 15 aquarium cards, 14 library cards, and if you guessed 13, I'm sorry, I just called these library cards, 14 garden cards. If you then guessed that these are library cards and there are 13 of them, you win. So these are location cards. These are the most common ones in the deck. There are also, there are also door cards. There are 2 doors for each color, as I showed you before. Door cards are treated differently from location cards. And then there are dream cards. In the basic set, the only dream card you will find is this fella right here. He is a nightmare. And that's the name of it. I'm not just describing it. That's the name of it, and that is a description of it. Nightmare cards work differently than location cards and door cards. These are the 3 types of cards that you will encounter in the game. In the other expansions, I'll show you there are additional kinds of dream cards, additional kinds of location cards. There's only basically ever 1 door card. But in the base set, this is all you need to worry about. So keep in mind, whenever I talk about a dream card, in this case, it's always going to mean a nightmare card. In later games, where I give you rules for a dream card, that might apply to something beyond the nightmare. Additionally, the same with locations. In this game, locations will always be either suns, moons, or keys, and they'll always either be in the observatory, the aquarium, the garden, or the library. Okay, so as with any card game, let's give everything a good shuffle. One of the, I wouldn't say problems, maybe features, something to watch out for in Onirim is all of the cards in the expansion right here, they are going to be used a lot less often than these base cards. So if you're the type of guy to care about wear and tear, there's going to be a lot more of it on these base cards. Like, I can't really tell the difference between the base cards and the expansion cards as I'm playing, but people who are anal about that sort of thing might notice. And this is one of those cases where if you decide to sleeve your cards, okay, I could understand it. I generally am not into sleeving cards. I think it's really dorky. I say sitting here explaining a dorky game to you guys. All right, we have shuffled our deck. This is officially randomized. One of the things you have to be super careful with in this game, Make sure you shuffle really well between each game, because the nature of the game is such that when you put the cards away, they will be arranged in sets and orders that you do not want to maintain when you're starting a new game with a fresh deck. So the first thing you will do, of course, is give yourself an opening hand. Your hand is always going to be 5 cards. So we flip up 5 cards from the top of the deck. Now what I'm going to do for the purpose of this video is lay out my hand right here. Normally a hand you keep in your hand. I'm going to do this so you can see it. Furthermore, I think this works very well for Onirim, is don't feel you need to hold your hand of cards in your hand. Feel free to lay them out like this so you can clearly see what they are. And I've now just messed up my shuffle by looking at these cards. So our opening hand is 5 cards. Let's flip them up. Oh my God, who shuffled these? This is from the expansion. Oh, I've already messed it up. Did I just shuffle the expansion in here? I did. Oh, this is a terrible teaching game. I've already ruined it by shuffling in an expansion called, I think this is Crossroads. I don't know which one it is. Okay, it looks like I didn't shuffle the whole thing in. There were just a couple of cards from one of the expansions that I did not properly remove. All right, there. Sorry about that. Let's do this one more time. We will not be using those cards. Here we go. Normally it doesn't take this long to set up a game of Onirim. All right, here's our deck. 5 cards for our opening hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very straightforward. Now, a couple of things could have happened. These are all locations in your opening hand. When you get a location, you keep the locations. If I had, however, turned over a door in my opening hand, or, even worse, a nightmare in my opening hand, that would not stand. Either of these doesn't take any sort of effect, but it's put aside in what is called limbo. So you're going to have your opening hand, and as you're playing it, you're going to have your hand of cards. As you're playing it, you will also have a limbo pile. Limbo cards do not affect your turn, and at the end of your turn, they're going to get shuffled back into the deck. So in your opening hand, doors, dreams, they don't take effect. You keep drawing until you get 5 locations, then you shuffle back into the deck any dreams or doors. Okay, my turn is now going to consist of 3 things. 3 very simple things. I'm going to play or discard a card. I'm then going to refill my hand to 5 cards. And then I'm going to shuffle this limbo pile that might have accrued back into the deck. So when I play a card, it's going to go into a row here that represents my exploration of a dream. And there are 2 rules for when I play a card. The first rule is that no 2 types of locations can duplicate. I cannot play a sun next to a sun. I cannot play a moon next to a sun. That would be okay. And I cannot play a key next to a key. As long as I observe that rule, anything goes. But what I'm trying to do is get 3 colors of a type for a reason I'll tell you about in a moment. So the other thing I can do is discard a card. If I discard a location, and this will be my discard pile up here, if I discard a location, nothing happens. My turn is over. I then refill my hand to 5, and then I would shuffle any limbo cards back in the deck. If I discard a key, something happens called a prophecy. One of the things that the Oniverse games like to do is give simple actions cool names. So a prophecy means I discard a key, and then I take, which is what I'm going to do for my first turn, and then I take the top 5 cards of the deck. One of these cards this is mandatory, I must discard. So hopefully I got a nightmare in here. The other 4 cards I can arrange however I like and put them back. Let's see if we got a nightmare. There we go. Obviously of these cards, we don't want this. So in this prophecy, I am discarding the nightmare, and now I can order these. So because I want 3 reds, and because I can't duplicate the symbols on a location, let's obviously do this. So you'll see how that works in a moment. I played one card. I played or discarded a card. In this case, I discarded a key. I executed the action of a prophecy. Now I refill my hand to 5. Oh, big surprise. If there had been any limbo cards, I would then shuffle them into the deck. There aren't any, so I move to my next turn. Now I play or discard a card. I'm going to play this. Now my dream labyrinth has begun with a quest for the observatory. I refill my hand to 5. Oh, who knew? If there had been any limbo cards, I would now shuffle them into the deck. There aren't any. My next turn, play or discard a card. Honoring the rules again, I could not have done this because a moon can't touch a moon. The idea being, I'm guessing, that obviously day follows night and night follows day. Night never follows night and day never follows day. Come on, don't be silly. So in this case, I'm going to play here. By the way, I could have played any one of these, but because my goal here, and you'll find out why in a moment, is to get 3 cards of the same color, that would be a wasted move. So that would be allowed, but the only rule for what I can put up here, it has to be a location, of course, is that it cannot match the type of location. 2 types of locations can't touch each other. So, okay, for my next turn, we'll put a sun after a moon, refill my hand to 5. Ooh, look, no limbo pile. Next turn. Here's the second rule you need to know about the labyrinth that you are building. Whenever you place the 3rd card in a color, you may now obtain a door of that color. Obtain is the verb they use for going through the deck and pulling out the card you want. Retrieve could be used. This isn't one of those games where you have to be super careful with your verbs. I've now obtained a red door. The doors I will place up here as I unlock them. Remember, I need 8 of them, 2 of each color. Of course, now that I have seen the deck, I shuffle it again. And then I will go to the next step, which is refill my hand to 5 cards. All right, now look at this. This is lovely. This could not have worked out better. You will note I now am going to have 3 library cards that I can play in sequence without matching, without 2 types of locations touching each other. Here's another important rule that I screwed up the first few times I played. So now I'm going to get a sequence of 3 additional colors. Let's say I start with that and then have another tan moon. I've now broken the game, and if you are an astute viewer, you might see why. I've now put a moon after a moon. Night doesn't follow night, day follows night, duh. So my thinking before was, oh, once I get 3 colors, I've basically closed out the sequence, I start a new sequence. No. The rule still applies. One type of location can never touch the same type of location. So that's why this set of 3 is particularly fortuitous. If I had had a moon, a sun, and a moon, I wouldn't have been able to set it up nearly as well. So we now place a sun of libraries, refill my hand to 5 cards. These are very helpful. As you know, I can use it for a prophecy. There's something else I can do with it, which I'll show you in a minute. I do that, refill. I do that. Now I have a sequence of 3 cards. I retrieve a library door. You might be wondering what happens if I then put out a 4th card. Do I then get to take another library door? No. The rule is after 3 locations, on the 3rd location, not on a 4th location, not on a 5th location, obviously not on a 2nd location, on a 3rd location of any given color, you obtain a door. So I can't do this for another library door, therefore. All right, I've played or discarded 1 card. I refill my hand to 5. All right. Now, this key I could use to do another prophecy, which if you recall means taking 5 cards, discarding 1, putting the other 4 back in any order. Alternatively, keys are very useful because if I draw a door, it's not a location. A door is a type of card. It doesn't have any effect. So if I draw a door, it goes into limbo, which means it'll be shuffled back into the deck at the end of the turn. If, however, the other thing I can do with a door, if I draw a door and I have a key of the corresponding color, I can discard the key to unlock the door and put it in my sequence. So this might be worth keeping in anticipation of a green door coming up. However, this early in the game, I'm going to go ahead and use it for a prophecy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, one of these must be discarded, mandatory. So if these are 5 awesome cards, one of them's got to be discarded. You can never discard a door, by the way. Look, perfect. Say goodbye to another nightmare. Awesome, and a couple of keys. And furthermore, we can get a blue sequence set up. All right, so there. All right, I have played a card. I used my garden key for a prophecy. I got rid of a nightmare. Now I fill my hand up to 5. Oh, awesome. There's no limbo deck to shuffle back in. Now I play cards. And by the way, by having seeded the next 3 cards, I know there's no danger of a nightmare coming up. So I'm just going to tear through this. I am going to use a key for a sequence. Remember, a key is a location. Now I have lots of aquarium cards. I have 3 blue cards. We go through and we retrieve a blue door. Here we go. And I'm set up pretty well for a second blue sequence at this point, assuming I get a moon or a key. All right, I refill my hand to 5. Oh, okay, now you get to see what happens when you draw a dream card. When you draw a dream card in Onirim, it immediately resolves. The only dream card we're seeing in this base set, I'll show you in a moment an expansion that adds another kind of dream card. The only dream card we're going to see here is this nightmare. Nightmares are pretty bad luck. Nightmares mean you must do one of 4 things. And here is where, for a while, I would recommend keeping the rules handy in front of you, opened to the page that tells you what 4 things you have to do in the event of a nightmare. This is going to be something that you're going to have to refer to until you've learned it, memorized it. So I'm just going to summarize for you what these 4 things are. There are 4 ways to deal with a nightmare. The first way, remember how useful these keys are in terms of doing a prophecy. Keys are also useful to hang on to, because if you have a nightmare, you can just discard the key and then discard the nightmare to get rid of it. That's the first thing you can do. The second thing you can do is take one of these doors in limbo. Take one of these doors that you've unlocked and put it in limbo, which means it will then shuffle back into the deck. That's always bad news. That's basically knocking yourself back 1 notch from victory. The third thing you can do is discard your hand. For what it's worth, this is not in my hand. This is being resolved. Discard your hand and then refill your hand with 5 new cards. And the fourth thing you can do is take 5 cards off the top of the deck, discard all locations, put any dreams and doors in limbo. This is dangerous to do because I might be burning several useful keys, for instance. So what I'm going to do in this turn is, rather than blindly burning 5 cards to the discard pile, I don't have a key to use, and I'm not going to get rid of one of these doors. So what I'm going to do is discard my hand. Now I refill my hand. It's important to remember, when I'm refilling my hand, it's much like giving myself an opening hand at the beginning of the game. I'm not going to resolve any nightmares that come up. So refilling my hand is totally safe. By the way, once a nightmare is resolved, it of course goes to the discard pile. So I refill my hand. Any doors or dreams that come up go to the limbo pile. Oh, I'm fine with this. This is very nice. So my hand is now up to 5 cards. Again, if I'd gotten any dreams, they would also go in the limbo pile. The third thing I do in my turn is shuffle this into the limbo pile. Now, if you are looking closely, you can see that I have a perfect sequence available now for a garden door, which is very nicely appropriate from an aesthetic perspective, because I'm going to have an observatory, library, aquarium, and now a garden door, and that's halfway to victory. So, of course, I can't put the sun there, and I don't want to, because I need 3 of them. They have to alternate. We start with the moon. Where my plans could be screwed up is if I get another nightmare. And now we put the garden sun down. And then we put the garden moon down, and immediately before drawing, I obtain a garden door, which is there. I now shuffle the deck, because of course I've seen the order of every single card. Shuffling gets increasingly easier as the game progresses and there are fewer cards. The stock for these cards is really nice. Good, thick, solid cards. I'll draw another card. Nope, well, there we go. So now I must resolve this. I can either discard my hand, I can discard a key, I can put a door that I've unlocked into limbo, or I can burn blindly 5 cards off the top of the deck. I'm going to discard a key. I've now resolved that nightmare. I'm still on the second action. Remember, it goes player discard a card, refill your hand to 5, shuffle limbo. I'm still on the turn in the phase of refilling my hand to 5 cards. There we go. Now, here's a situation you will often find yourself in. There's no surefire set of 3 cards that I can bring out in my hand. Things look good if I could get a moon or a key to go here, but there's no guarantee of that. So do I begin the sequence and just hope to get lucky? Or do I discard cards and hope to draw something? I always feel that discretion is the better part of valor. There's no need to gamble here. Let's discard one of these cards. Why the observatory card? Because if you remember, there's 16 observatory cards, 15, did I get that right? Yeah, 15 aquarium cards, 14 garden cards, and 13 library cards. These are the most common in the deck, so these are the ones you can most afford to burn. There, I've discarded a card. I refill my hand to 5, and shuffle the limbo back in. All right, let's use this red key to do a prophecy. Remember, a prophecy is I take 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I must discard one of them, so hopefully we've got a nightmare in here. Perfect. And then I can arrange these in any order. I didn't get a library card I'm looking for, which, by the way, statistically speaking, is no big surprise. They're the fewest library cards in the deck. But these are the cards I'm going to have to go through for my next 4 turns. So what do I do? So you might think, oh, well, he's holding out for a library moon. He's kind of screwed. No, because look here. I can now make a sequence of 3 green cards for my second garden door. Remember, keys are locations. So let's just do this to put them back. There, that is my 3rd door. Keep in mind, on my 4th door, I don't get to, on my 4th location, I don't get to draw a door, nor the 5th, nor the 6th. It's only on the 3rd of any sequence of the same color do you obtain a door. So let's get the last remaining garden door. So we have now entered and escaped the garden. And if you remember, those other 2 cards that we had put on top of the deck from our prophecy, those are now lost into the deck. They're no longer on the top. Refill my hand to 5, no limbo. All right, so, by the way, some green cards now are entirely useless to me. I don't need any more green cards for the set. I've got my 2 green doors out. Let's say goodbye to this one and hope that we get a library or an aquarium location we can use. Nope, no such luck. Let's see what happens, because I like this setup. I'm really close to getting a library or an aquarium door. Let's do that terrible thing, I'm discarding this, of burning 5 cards, 2, 3, 4, 5. Any dreams or doors in here go to limbo. Oh, this is particularly painful, so that goes to limbo. I'm losing 2 red keys. That hurt. And that is exactly why you don't want to blindly burn cards. But I have resolved that dream, refilling my hand of 5 cards. And again, let's discard this. Now, good, perfect. Let's get our second library door, assuming nothing messes up with the draws. Oh, good, a key. Shoot a monkey. Well, let's discard this key to resolve the nightmare. Because I didn't want to discard my hand, I'm certainly not going to burn one of those doors, and I don't want to do that thing where, oops, what happened here? And I don't want to do that thing where what did happen there? Did I put this there sometime earlier and you guys didn't tell me? Why would I have discarded a red? Oh, that was from the nightmare, I imagine. Anyway, and I certainly don't want to blindly burn 5 more cards because see where that got me before. So refilling my hand to 5. Good, by the way, this is an aquarium door. This now, if I had a library key, no other color key would do it. I could unlock it, but I don't, so it goes to limbo. Oh, great time. Now you show up. I have 5 cards. I'm going to shuffle these back into the deck. So I'm about to get my second library door, and I'm perfectly set up to get my second aquarium door. Okay, now here's something that you might consider. If I were to play this, very good, I get a second library door. However, I now can't play this sequence of 3 because it would have to start with this card here, and that breaks the rules. So I'm actually going to use this key to complete the set of 3 and now obtain a library door. And here is my second library door. Sorry, I'm a little anal about this. I want to keep the 2 doors together to more easily visualize how far I have come. We're done with the library, we're done with the garden. Now we have to resolve the aquarium and the observatory, which, by the way, is good news because these are the cards that are most common in the deck. I have opened and closed the doors that are the hardest to do because they involve the fewest cards in the deck. All right, refill my hand to 5. Very good. I am easily going to get a aquarium door open, and I've got a key to protect me in case any nightmares come along. Oh, which they just did. All right. I now obtain a blue door, in which case the last thing I need is to open the observatory door before running out of cards. I shuffle these. Things are looking very good. Except that's the worst shuffle in the history of all shuffles. All right, I refill my hand to 5. And so we just need the observatory door. This is a terrible situation for opening an observatory door because there are no red cards. All right, let's get rid of, and all of these, by the way, are useless. There we good. Bad. I think I'm going to burn my hand. Yeah. Now, keep in mind when I'm refilling my hand after burning it because of a nightmare, I don't resolve any dreams. 2, 3, that's great. 4, that's also great. 5. All right, we'll be able to do a prophecy with this. Refill to 5, no limbo to shuffle. Now, here's the tough thing is I can't put a sun next to a sun. So let's go ahead and do a prophecy and hope we manage to get a nightmare out of there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, we have to discard something. You can never discard a door. It goes without saying, I presume. These aren't of any help to us because we've already obtained these doors, so let's discard that. Put these back in any order. If I had had a red key, I'd be in perfect shape to put this back, but I don't. So let's do this. All right, this is perfect, but I can't put a sun next to another sun. But keep in mind what I can do is play any card to the labyrinth so long as the locations don't duplicate. So watch this. Why would I do that? Well, oh, this goes to limbo. And now limbo, oh no, deal another card, now limbo shuffled back in here. I did that because now I can place the observatory sun next to that library moon. All right, as long as this isn't a nightmare, I'm in great shape. There we go. I now obtain the observatory door, and I have won a game of Onirim. All right, now that you know how to play, let me also give you a kind of a strategy tip. Some people might think of this as cheating, but there's nothing in the rules that prohibit it. So let me show you something real quick. All right, so I've scooted down the playing area a little bit in terms of what you can see in the camera. So now you can see this big mess up here. What is that, you might wonder? Well, here's my hand, of course, 5 cards. Here's my draw deck. Here's my dream labyrinth. Here are the doors that I've unlocked. The idea being my hand, the cards I'm dealing with, cards that I'm done with. The doors I've unlocked, the cards that are turned sideways, are cards that have been discarded. This now is my discard pile, laid bare for me to see at a glance how many cards of each color and what kinds of cards of each color I have discarded. Furthermore, I know exactly how many nightmares are left in the deck. A game of Onirim includes 10 nightmares. Here are 4 of them. I know there are only 6 more nightmares left for me to deal with. So when I'm making decisions about what cards to play, I have a lot more information without having to... So the discard pile is face up. You could theoretically go through it if you wanted to find something out, like how many library keys are left. But rather than doing that, and you might actually be opposed to that, you can just lay it out in this manner so that everything is readily apparent. So in this situation, we can see I've unlocked both green doors. I might want to be careful about, for instance, discarding too many red cards. I've already gotten rid of a lot. There are plenty of green cards left over. I've unlocked both green doors. So I know entirely how useless this is. So if I play that to discard it, and now I'm primed to unlock my second red door. I can see, for instance, when it would be, so there are only 3 keys of each color. I can see that if I use this for a prophecy, as opposed to this, there will be no more blue doors, because here are blue keys. Here are 2 of the blue keys. Here's a third. This library key is only the second of the 3 library keys. So I know in the deck there's another library key. Is this cheating? I don't think so. It's an interface mod. I'm quite fond of interface mods. It's up to you how you want to play. Onirim, for the most part, at least the base set, a pretty forgiving game. I tend to lose and win half and half, maybe skewing more towards winning. Once you throw in the expansions, things can get more challenging, especially as you're learning how they work. But as you are learning Onirim, you might find this instructive. Alternatively, just put it all in a big discard pile and keep yourself guessing and don't look. It certainly takes up a lot less table real estate. So there you go. Use that if you will, if it's useful to you. Now, what you have just seen is just the basics in Onirim. You know how to play, but you don't know the full game yet. Because what this does, this little box, which actually kind of has 9 games, you could say, if you play without any expansions, has 8 expansions in it, so therefore 8 games, 9 including the base game. Don't mess with just the base game. Do that to teach yourself how to play, but to really enjoy Onirim, you're going to want to fold in at least one of the 8 expansions. Now, there are 8 of them. You can use just one of them. I think where Onirim really gets richer is when you decide to mix a couple of them. Theoretically, you could play with all 8 expansions, which would be a little crazy. I don't necessarily recommend that. I don't think it's designed for that. But would I recommend to really experience it, make sure to get in one of those expansions. So what I'm going to do now is show you a couple of them. We're going to begin with one called the, what is this one called? The names are basically just the cards that are added. I'm going to start by showing you my favorite expansion, which is called Door to the Oniverse. Let me show you that. Stick around. Now, as I mentioned before, the box has 2 slots in it for stacks of cards. In one slot, you keep the base cards. In the other slot, you keep this huge stack of cards that are only used in the expansions. The rules for these are spelled out in the appropriately named book of expansions. Now, you can read this, but I presume you're here watching this video because you don't want to read this. Sooner or later, you're going to have to, though. Resign yourself to at least having to flip to read about whichever expansion you want to use. I have them organized in this great big stack by the order in which they are in this book. That's actually how it comes, I believe. I'm going to show you now the last one, Door to the Oniverse. So therefore, I know it is at the bottom of this stack. Each expansion has card symbols, these little icons here, that tell you to which expansion they belong. So I happen to know this right here is the expansion for, as you can see in the manual, Door to the Oniverse. So we take all the cards that have this symbol, and we are going to use these for playing Oniverse now. Oh, one important thing, never forget this, by the way. This is hugely crucial. Forget this at your own peril. Remember, the little incubus must always preside over every game that you play. Even demo, we got to get him in here even for the demos. I happen to know this card will not be used because it's used when you use Door to the Oniverse with one of the other expansions. So we're throwing that aside. This card is the eponymous Door to the Oniverse. We now, in addition to unlocking the other 8 doors, must unlock this one. How do we unlock it? Well, as is very clear from the iconography and the colors, you can use a key to the observatory, the library, the garden, or the aquarium. It's basically a kind of a wild door. Any key will unlock it. Furthermore, of course, any sequence of 3 cards will unlock it. It's just one. It's a 9th door that must unlock in order for you to win the game. So this is, most of the expansions will add something to make the game more difficult and something to make the game easier. This is basically how it makes the game more difficult. Your resources, that is your keys and your sets of 3 cards in the labyrinth, will be stretched a little thinner. So how do we make the game easier? Let me introduce you to the denizens of Onirim. I love these little fellas. Unfortunately, this is also going to require a bit of reference material on your part. It will be helpful if you have at hand the Book of Expansions opened to the page that explains what each of the denizens does. But I'll show you that very quickly right now myself because I enjoy that. This right here, this hapless looking, poorly formed little fellow is the architect. The architect, oh, let me tell you, by the way, how the denizens come into play. You know how this card comes into play. It's just like any other door. The denizens are dream cards, meaning they are not locations, they are not doors, they are dream cards. When you draw a denizen, you must immediately resolve it. Just like when you draw a nightmare, one of the other dreams, you recognize that, you must immediately resolve it. How do you resolve a drawn denizen? You have 2 options. You either discard it, in which case I want nothing to do with you, and you throw it in the discard pile, or, as you will more likely do, you rally it. And rallying means discard 1 card from your hand and then put the denizen in play in front of you. He's not part of your hand, he's in front of you ready to be used. I should also point out, I'm getting way ahead of myself, you shuffle these cards, you shuffle this into the deck. You do not shuffle all the denizens into the deck. There are 8 kinds of denizens, and there are 2 of each. We're not just going to put them all in there. That wouldn't be fair. Instead, we are going to shuffle this set of 16 cards. Terrible shuffle. And then we will deal out half of them. That's 8 of them. And then shuffle those 8 into the deck. The other 8 we set aside and won't be using. So in any given game, you don't know which denizens you'll get or how many of them. So let me introduce you to them. Oh, good Lord, this fella. This is, let's go back to the poor architect because I already started telling you about him. The architect, you can tell is the architect because he's taking apart the dream labyrinth here. He allows you to break the rule that says you can't put one symbol next to another symbol. Normally when I'm playing, as you know, I cannot put a sun next to a sun. That breaks the rules. If I have an architect in front of me, because I have rallied him or her, is that a chick? I don't know. Because I've rallied the architect, I can discard the architect. Anytime you use one of the powers of a denizen, you discard it. I can discard the architect, and then I'm free to put a sun next to a sun, a key next to a key, or a moon next to a moon. That's what the architect does. This right here is the cyclobot. He lets you trade a hand in your hand, in your card, a card in your hand with a card in the discard pile. Now you might think, oh, okay, I could see that being moderately useful. Maybe I really need a red sun. I discarded one previously. Here's a card I don't need. I'll trade it for the red sun. Keep in mind that the cards that you trade, I should say, you trade a location in your hand for a location in the discard pile, which is kind of a moot distinction because I don't think you're ever going to have cards in your hand that aren't locations, unless we're playing a different variant. But at any rate, the rule is a location in my hand can be traded for a location in the discard pile. Keys are locations. So if I've used a key previously, I can trade it for some useless card in my hand, put a key into my hand, and now I can use it. Very useful. You can do these powers, by the way, at any time. This weird little fellow is the Chromatic Chaos. He changes the color of any door, whether it's a door I have just drawn or a door I am trying to obtain in the deck because I've just played 3 cards of that color. Very useful. Some funky interactions with some of the other expansions. So if you're using the other expansions, be sure to check the rules for how the Chromatic Chaos may or may not interact with them. The mirror, I'm not too fond of this guy. He's actually my least favorite. The mirror basically lets you delay a nightmare. If you have a mirror in front of you and you draw a nightmare, you may put the nightmare in limbo and discard the mirror. Now, as you know, the nightmare being in limbo just means it's going to get shuffled back into the deck. So you're just delaying the possibly inevitable. That's what the mirror does. This weird little fellow is the Repentant Treasure Keeper. Treasure Keeper, I understand. I'm not sure what he is repentant of. When he is rallied, you also put with him, you can put it underneath him, you can put it on top of him, whatever interface mod you want to come up with. You place with him in front of you any card from your hand. The card from your hand now remains with the Repentant Treasure Keeper. It's treasure that he is keeping. It, however, is not technically part of your hand, the Treasure Keeper's card. So if you have to discard your hand for some reason, say a nightmare, you do not discard whatever the Repentant Treasure Keeper has. At any time, you can use the card the Repentant Treasure Keeper is keeping. So he basically increases your hand size to 6 and furthermore makes one of those cards immune to being discarded. These little fellows I'm quite fond of. The Squirrel Spies. Now, I don't know what kind of squirrel spies have to wear glasses. We couldn't have come up with some creature more sharp-eyed than squirrels with astigmatisms or whatever's going on there. Squirrel Spies, a very simple card. You use them, you rally them, they're in front of you, you discard them at any point to look at the top 5 cards on the deck and then rearrange them in any order. It's similar to a prophecy, and if you recall, a prophecy is where you discard a key, look at the top 5 cards, mandatory discard of one of them. Squirrel Spies just let you look at the top 5 cards, replace them in any order. You don't get to or have to discard anything. The Hammer Bird. The Hammer Bird basically chips away at the last thing you built in the Dream Labyrinth. You discard the first card in the Dream Labyrinth, or the most recently played one, along with any preceding cards of that color. So he knocks off the most recent row of colors from your Dream Labyrinth. His usefulness is very context dependent, but he can certainly be useful. I love this little fella. That's absolutely a cat, right? Isn't it, when you say it's a cat? This is the Harpoon Hunter. Here's his harpoon gun. He's got some extra harpoons in his quiver, whatever. You know what? He's got a tail. That can't be a cat. Is he a seal? I don't know. Whatever he is, the Harpoon Hunter lets you look at the top 5 cards, discard any and all nightmares. So unlike a prophecy with a discarded key where you can only discard 1 card, the Harpoon Hunter gets rid of all the nightmares. The remaining cards you then put on the bottom. You might be thinking, Tom, why do I want to put cards on the bottom? It'll be till the end. I won't get there till the end of the game. Not so. One thing to keep in mind with Onirim, you're constantly shuffling the cards. So those cards you put on the bottom, as soon as you obtain a door, for instance, and you shuffle the deck, they won't be on the bottom anymore. So if you know that there's at least 1 nightmare or more coming, maybe the Squirrel Spies have revealed a couple of incoming nightmares. The Harpoon Hunter will take care of all of them. Here's the mirror again. The Hammerbird again, the Architect again, more Squirrel Spies. As I said, there's 2 of each card. Repentant Treasure Keeper, Cyclobot. Oh, I told you about him. Chromatic Chaos, Harpoon Hunter. There you go. Door to the Oniverse adds the Door to the Oniverse and those 8 denizens. You might get 2 of some, none of the other. It mixes up the gameplay quite a bit. Okay, so before we see that in action, let me show you another expansion, and then let's play a game using both expansions. So that was Door to the Oniverse. Now I'm going to show you Crossroads and Dead Ends. As you might guess, Dead Ends and Crossroads adds Crossroads cards and Dead End cards. Crossroad cards, these are the ways that the game is made a little easier with this expansion. Crossroads cards might look a little familiar with some of the symbology, but the colors are a little crazy. These are location cards that are basically wild. They can be used for any color. There are 3 Sun Crossroad cards, 2 Moon Crossroad cards, and 1 Key Crossroad card. They can be whatever color you want them to be. When I've got a sequence of 3 cards going, if I want to complete it with a Crossroads card, I can. If I've got 2 suns from the observatory, you still have to honor, by the way, the type of location. If I have 2 suns from the observatory, this is a legitimate sequence. Now, a Crossroads card can be the first card in a sequence, the second card in a sequence, or the third card in a sequence. Again, remember, you must honor this rule here of making sure 2 locations of the same type don't touch each other. The Crossroads key, furthermore, will allow you to unlock any door. So if I'm playing and this is in my hand and I draw a library door or a garden door, either one of them can be unlocked and put into play by discarding the Crossroads key. Very, very powerful card. This makes things a little easier. So Crossroads and Dead Ends is made more difficult with these 10 cards. 10 of them. They get shuffled into the deck. They depict dead ends. Now this is a location card because when you draw it, it goes into your hand. Furthermore, it stays in your hand. You can never play a dead end into your labyrinth row. Instead, it's going to clog up your hand by taking one of the 5 spots and rendering it useless. So how do you get rid of these? An important rule, because you can never play them, you can also never discard them singly. If, for instance, you're resolving a nightmare, and remember, a nightmare, one of the options to resolve it is burn the top 5 cards. Retain any doors and dreams in the limbo pile. When you are resolving the nightmare card, this is one of those weird rules exceptions you're going to have to keep in mind. You do not discard any dead ends. In that situation, I believe the rules specify that it becomes a dream card for the purposes of revealing it by the nightmare. However, when you are playing a prophecy, and if you recall, discarding a key card lets you do a prophecy, in which case you look at the top 5 cards, discard one of them, return the others in any order, you can indeed discard one of these. So how do you normally get rid of these? Let's say your hand, oh my gosh, you're up to 3 of your cards in your hand are dead ends. This is terrible. It's a couple of options. First of all, whenever you discard your entire hand, that's how you get rid of these. So for instance, if you recall, one of the options with a nightmare card is discard your entire hand and then refill it. In that case, you can get rid of your dead ends because your entire hand goes, the dead ends go with it. Similarly, we now add a third option to the first part of your turn. If you recall, the first part of your turn is play or discard a card. Then the next thing you do is refill your hand to 5. The final thing you do is shuffle the limbo pile back into the deck. When it's time to play or discard a card, you have a third option available to you, and that option is called escape. Escaping means instead of playing or discarding a card, you discard your entire hand and refill it. That will get rid of any dead ends. All right, let's put them all together. Let's try a demo game. Now, at this point, you don't have to stick around. You know how to play Onirim, but because I've enjoyed showing it to you, let's have a full game. Let's see how it goes. All right, here we go. As you know, the first thing we need for any game, the little incubus must preside over the proceedings. We'll put him up there. We have here our core cards. This is the base set of cards. We need that. We have here the door to the Oniverse, which also, of course, includes the denizens. I know that we do not need this card. Hopefully you can tell from the back. These are the regular cards. There's helpful information. Well, this just shows when you use this expansion, it doesn't go into the deck anyway. So this is a convenient way. If you accidentally shuffled this in, you would be like, wait a minute, this does not belong. We're setting this aside. That's for another expansion. We do use this. This is important. That's the door to the Oniverse. Of the 16 denizens, we're only going to use 8. So the first order of business, give the denizens a good shuffle. We'll see which lucky 8 get to join us. I am hoping for, I don't know what I'm hoping for. It's always fun to have the squirrels. Here we go. Shuffled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Goodbye. Getting rid of those. These will be shuffled into the deck. Actually, because you retrieve doors and go through the deck, I'll be able to kind of see who is there and who isn't at some point. We are also going to use Crossroads and Dead Ends. So these also have to be shuffled into the deck. All right, so we're going to make sure this gets shuffled really well. Bear with me for a moment. Shuffle these guys up first. Sorry, I just saw the Harpoon Hunter and the Hammerbird. I know those are in there. Gradually get these in. As I said, a lot of shuffling in Onirim. Thanks for joining me for this shuffling. And as I said before, you don't have to stick around for this. You know everything you need to know. This is basically just for my benefit. I got the game out to show it to you, so dadgummit, I might as well play it too. So many cards here. All right, you know what? I hate to subject you to this, but we're going to do this whole thing. In addition to having the little incubus watch me, you can't see this off camera, but I have a big fat black cat sitting in my lap. I think that will help anyone playing a board game. Well, I know now where that Crossroads card is. If you don't have a cat, a dog will do. Maybe sitting on your feet. If you don't have that, maybe a fish. Set up a fish tank. All right, shuffling and shuffling. So, if you read my review, one of the things I really like about Onirim as a solitaire game, I should point out there are 2-player variants, which I've never tried. You're basically just both working on the same solitaire setup. But as a solitaire game, I really appreciate how short it is, and yet there's a lot going on. There's also a short solitaire card game called Friday, which I really don't like much at all. Haven't played it a lot, but Friday just seemed brutally difficult. You could tell early on whether or not you were going to win or lose. Thematically, Friday didn't do a lot for me. I love me some Robinson Crusoe, but not in the way it was expressed in that game. All right, we are almost ready to play with a shuffled deck. Yeah, this is totally optional because teaching you Onirim, we got that part out of the way in the first, 10 minutes of this video. All this, you can consider this bonus material. All right, there we go. And I can guarantee you there's going to be more shuffling where that came from. Here's our draw deck. The first order of business is to get a hand of 5 cards out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have a door here. This goes into limbo. Now we have 5 cards. Limbo gets shuffled back into the deck. I won't get too crazy with this. All right, so looking at this, we are well situated for red and green. We don't want to do anything too rash, so my first hand, I'm going to discard this. Let's see, this will be, I'll put a discard over here. So discard, fill my hand up to 5. Squirrel Spies, if I want to recruit them, which I do, I can discard any card here. Let's get rid of a red card. Put the Squirrel Spies here to show they have been recruited. At any time, I can discard these to look at the top 5 cards and return them in any order. I'm going to wait and maybe synergize the squirrels with some other denizen. Refilling my hand. All right, here we go. It's early enough. I'm going to discard this and burn these cards. Now I refill my hand, in which case if I get doors or nightmares, nightmares don't trigger off. Oh, a dead end. That's great. This goes into limbo. This goes into limbo. Here we go. Limbo now gets shuffled into the deck. So the only way I can get rid of that dead end is by doing what's called an escape, where instead of taking my turn normally, I discard my hand and then deal myself a new hand. Alternatively, if a nightmare ever comes up and I discard my entire hand, I can say goodbye to any dead ends as well. So for all intents and purposes, we now have a hand size of 4. Okay, let's go ahead and do a prophecy. So I take 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at 5 cards. I must discard one of these. Well, goodbye. Then put these back in any order. Our harpoon hunter will be nice. See, if we'd kept that library key, we could open this door. Shoot a monkey. None of these is particularly good in this order. So if we do this and draw it, we know we're going to shuffle it back into the deck and reorder things. Let's go with this. You'll see why in a moment. All right, 5 hands, no limbo. Let's discard this. No, wait a minute. What were the cards? Is this allowed? I hope so. The green, right. Let's discard this. Now, let's discard... Shoot. What was it? This right here. All right, now let's put this into play and discard this. I might be doing terribly. So at any time, I can discard him to go through the top 5 cards, discard any nightmares, put the rest in the bottom of the deck. So, oh, well, great. Well, this goes into limbo. That would be dealt. I'm going to discard my hand because, oh, no, I'm refilling my hand. Oh, yeah. So this goes, I'm not drawing a new hand. I'm refilling my hand. This triggers off. I'm going to discard my hand. Oops, except this does not go into limbo. This will be discarded. I have resolved it. I did get rid of one dead end. Now I draw a new hand. Any nightmares that come up now go into limbo. Haha. Wow. Well. Bunch of nightmares. I do not know on a new hand. Denizens are dreams. On a new hand, dreams go over here. All right. There we go. Locations. This looks good for green, finally. These we will shuffle back into the deck. And that Crossroads sun is going to be awfully helpful. All right, let's open a garden door. We play a green sun. We have now begun, finally, our labyrinth row. Replace it. Great. These guys are really annoying. All right, if we get rid of this by playing this key, then now our green run is ruined. This won't help it. This stupid nightmare. All right, I'm going to do something terrible that I normally would not recommend. There are 4 things I can do to get rid of this. I can discard a key. I can burn any door that I've opened. I haven't opened any. I can discard my hand, or I can burn 5 cards off of the top here, in which case any dead ends, dreams, and doors go to limbo. Let's do that, just because I want to get a green door open finally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, stay. You know what? This is kind of good because these are dreams, so that doesn't get discarded. These are the only 2 that are discarded. Not bad. Then these get shuffled back into limbo. This nightmare has resolved. I'm sorry, the limbo pile gets shuffled back into the deck. And then we continue to fill my hand up to 5. Oh, you know what? I was supposed to fill my hand up to 5, then shuffle limbo back in here. Let's just make sure. So there, it wouldn't have been a big deal. Now we shuffle the limbo back into the deck, and we will continue on getting 3 green cards into the labyrinth row to finally open a green door. There we go. Now we go through the deck and obtain a green door. Where's the green door? Isn't there some horror movie, or maybe it's a porno movie called Behind the Green Door? Why do I know that? Having obtained a door, we now shuffle the deck. Remember, I've got these. I'm just saying that for myself, for my own benefit and not yours. All right, I am going to then work these cards here to open a library door. Oh, except I can't because of this stupid thing. We have to alternate. All right, it's time to use the squirrels to look at 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's annoying. We put them back in any order. I don't have a red key to unlock this door, so when this comes up, the deck will be shuffled after I take a card. The Hammerbird, I'm not that crazy about getting him. All right, so if we get... Am I missing something here that I can do? A moon, a sun. No. This is a terrible situation. Well, we don't want this. So, all right, let's do it like this. And what do we want in our hand? Let's take this red moon into our hand. All right, so we do this. The door comes up. It goes into limbo. What am I doing? I have to play a card first. Oh, no, I'm doing the squirrel thing. Duh. Okay, the squirrel spies have put things back in this order. Now I play a card, which will be... I hate to get rid of this. Oh, shoot. Let's do this. Okay, this goes into limbo. This now I can call by discarding a card. I can rally it. I think I don't want him. Poor Hammerbird. Sorry, buddy. Now I shuffle this back into the deck, so that dead end that was coming up will hopefully get buried more deeply. I was hoping to uncover a nightmare or two so that my harpoon hunter could go in there and take care of them. All right, now I will play... Let's do a prophecy. So I look at 5 cards. I must discard one of them. 3, 4, 5. Good. There. Ooh. Do I want to discard the nightmare or the dead? I want to discard the nightmare. All right. So this, and this would give me a row. I want this. All right. So we're going to go for moons and a sun, a wild sun for a library key, right? Good. All right, so I put them back. Yeah, so that was me playing the key. I discarded one. Now I replace it. Here we go. I'm now going to play a card, place it, play a card, replace it, play a card, obtain a library door. Hello, library door. Shuffle the deck and then continue refilling my hand to 5. Ouch. All right, it had to happen sooner or later. Let's see. We can easily get a red set going. No, we can't. Yes, we can. Sun, moon, sun. Should we do this to make sure things are safe? No, I'm going to go with it. Let's live dangerously. Dadgummit. Well, I'm going to burn this to get rid of the nightmare. Refill my hand. Do I want an architect who lets me put 2 similar cards together? To get it, I have to discard a card, which would disrupt my chain of 3 colors going to unlock an observatory door. Sorry, architect. All right. Put the moon in play and the sun in play, and now we get an observatory door. Now remember, the door to the Onirim is in here. It's a wild door. At some point I will want to make sure to get that. Now I shuffle the deck and continue refilling my hand to 5. Terrible card management. Alright, get another card. Oh, dagnabbit. These guys are so annoying. Alright, let's burn a key. Certainly not going to burn a door. Refilling my hand. Whew, ouch. Alright, nothing here looks good. I can burn 2 of these. I think we've seen 2 of them in there. That would mean 6 left. These are all suns. Suns are the most common. So you know what I'm going to do? Escape, where I discard my hand and then refill it. Any nightmares, any dreams that come up now go to limbo with any doors. Good. Goes to... No, shoot, doesn't go to limbo. Limbo. A lot of keys. All right, this gets shuffled back in. So, looking... Well, nothing is looking certain here. I like having a wild moon. There's only 2 of those in the deck. Crossroads moon. Let's do a prophecy. We've already opened one of these, so let's use this right here. We're going to do a prophecy to take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards, one of which must be discarded. Ouch. Well, certainly. Oh, you know what? Goodbye, architect. Sorry, buddy. All right, to finish things up here, we could get a blue door into the mix. We definitely want that. Oh, geez, all of these are good. All right, so we're going to go for... We could do pretty much any door. We could do a blue... Yeah, let's go for a blue door. And we'll hang on to that. All right, so replace a card. Put this here. Replace a card. In this case, by the way, where it's the first card in the set, its color is determined by whatever the second card in the set will be. Do that. And now do that, and we get a blue door. Retrieve a blue door from here. We are now in the aquarium. All right, we have one of each color. We're halfway there. We will shuffle the deck. And really looking good having that Crossroads key in play. I'm quite happy with that. Forget that dead end. That's not that big of a liability at this point. Refilling my hand. Ah! All right, I'm burning this key. Ouch. All right. Well, I'm not going to discard my whole hand while this this is here. What I am going to do, this might be dangerous, is start off this... Oh, shoot, I can't put a key on a key. All right, let's get rid of this. Shoot. Oh, my God. Oh. Well, I could burn this to get rid of it, or I could let it burn my hand and get rid of 2 dead ends, which is what I'm going to do. Now I refill my hand. So any dreams go to the limbo pile. Good, good. Dreams go to limbo pile. All right, I'm okay with this. Limbo gets shuffled into here. So we could complete our second green door with this set easily. I haven't seen a lot of denizens here. Just my harpoon hunter might come in handy. Could do a prophecy and use my harpoon hunter, but no, let's go for a green door. That's a bit of a sure thing at this point. Put this here. Hammerbird. Sorry, buddy. I got 2 hammerbirds. Oh, geez, a Pete. So annoying. So if I burn this, it's going to mess... Well, it won't mess up going to green because this can be any color. So let's burn a key. Lovely. One of each color. What to do here? Oh, shoot a monkey. Let's discard until we lean towards one color. Well, we can't do blue because we can't put two moons together. Let's get rid of one of the moons. We're going to get two of some color sooner or later. There we go. We can get our second blue door. So we will do a moon and a sun, and now we retrieve a blue door. Wait, yeah, 3. The last blue door has been opened. We now just need a garden door, a library door, and an observatory door. Look how thin the deck is. So from this, we've got to open 3 doors. This may not go well. You might see the forces of darkness prevail. Shuffle these in. All right, in this case, I think just because the deck is getting low, let's go fishing for nightmares. The Harpoon Hunter, when I play him, I can look at 5 cards, discard all the nightmares, put the remaining under the deck in any order. While he's here, yeah, I don't anticipate using too many keys for prophecies. All right, we're discarding him, looking at 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many nightmares did we get? None. All right, well, these go on the bottom of the deck. We wouldn't need this, we will. Okay, that would have helped for our red door, but oh well. Put on the bottom of the deck, doesn't matter the order. I don't imagine they're going to stay there. Oh, now I have to play a card. Once again, 4 colors. Oh, I know, this is of no use to me because I've unlocked both blue doors. Good. But again, it doesn't lean towards, I don't have enough of a color to guarantee completion. I am going to go ahead and start. It's the first in a series, so it can be whatever color it is when I add 2 more cards. Ouch. Do I dare do an escape? Well, I need these color doors. These are the most plentiful cards. I'm not going to do an escape yet. I'm going to discard that. Oh, okay, well. Do I commit to a color? No. Oh, this gets shuffled back in. Well, this is the perfect conditions for an escape. 3 dead ends is a little bit too much to stomach. So we're going to escape by discarding all of these. Look how big this discard pile is. And then I refill my hand. So remember, any dreams or nightmares go to limbo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Good. Very good. Oh, no, not good, because we don't need blue. So let's just burn these. Let's get rid of them. We can't use that for a prophecy. We're going to need it for... No, we don't need this. Okay, let's do a prophecy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We must discard one of these. Rats. You can never discard a door. This did not go well. I am not happy with this. Don't want to get rid of that, because that'll complete a set. Actually, this will complete a set as well. All right, we're going to let go of getting the red key right now so that we can ensure getting a green set. So we're going to draw this. Oh, we can get the key as well. All right, here's what we're doing. All right, replace it. We're getting this. Now we've got our red key. This. Now we have a door. A door. All right, we're going to get our second, well, no, not necessarily. These get shuffled back into the very, very thin deck. Oh, let me get my green door. Second green door. We just need a library door and an observatory door now. We're well on our way to the observatory door. These are useless. We're going to discard this. Good. I could use these for prophecies, or I could go ahead and play them to finish a red set for the observatory door. That's what I'm going to do. And hope no nightmares or anything mess me up. Please don't be a nightmare. Good. And by the way, here is our library door. So we look for the observatory door. We now only need a library door. And at this point, there are so few cards, we can afford one nightmare. I haven't been counting how many nightmares are out there to burn cards off the top. Otherwise, we just have to get through these 3 cards to get our last door out. Oh, you know what? Shoot a monkey. The door to the Oniverse. I need 2 more doors. Well, let's see what happens. All right, so let me compress this a little bit. Let's get that library door out there. A mirror. It lets me discard, a nightmare if I run into one. Sorry, mirror. I don't need you at this point. Oh, you know what? I'm an idiot. I didn't get... Sorry, Harpoon Hunter. I didn't get my, my observatory door. Now we need the door to the Oniverse. There are only... You know what? I don't think this is going to happen. Shoot a monkey. So in this case, if I'd had the discard pile arranged and I knew exactly what was in here, I would know whether to go for a blue set or a red set. I don't think this is going to happen. Let's just take a wild stab at there being another red card in there. Discard this. If we had a key, we could get rid of it. It goes to limbo. And we've just lost the game. Oh, a Harpoon Hunter. So we got very close. This is what lost it for us. And you now see this is how it works with a couple of expansions. There are a few more systems. There are more interesting things that can happen when you add the expansions in. So, sorry I lost, though. I would have liked to have been able to show you a win. So, there you have it. You now know how to play Onirim. I heartily recommend it. It's a relatively inexpensive game, not a cheap game. Great packaging, great components. If you want to read my full review of Onirim, click here. And also I encourage you to listen to my interview with Shadi Torbey, the developer. Click here for that, by the way. He's a really interesting fellow and I had a great time talking to him. I would be remiss as well if I didn't explain. Onirim, as you can see here, is called an Oniverse game, implying that there are more, which there are. Castellion is a tile-laying game where you're building a castle and trying to defend it against Oniverse creatures. And Sylvion is a card-based game where you're defending a forest against a forest fire. Also a bunch of Oniverse-oriented creatures. You'll find the squirrel spies in here as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. If you would like to see more of these, if there's a particular game you would like me to teach you, let me know. I'd be happy to do it. And thank you for joining me, and I'll see you next time.